Hi everyone, this is Anna, one of your consumer technology specialists at Mid-Continent Public Library. Today we are going to be talking about how to build a website using the free website builder Wix. The first thing that you are going to want to do when you're creating your website is navigate to wix.com, that's W-I-X, in your web browser. And it's going to have you set up an account as well as answer some questions to get you started. So we are on the website now, and to get started, the first thing I'm going to do is go to the blue box in the top right corner area and select Create New Site. And this is where it's going to ask those questions to get an idea of what you're going to use your site for. Today we're going to be making a blog site, so I just typed in the word blog, and that's a good enough search term. So after I answer that question, it does ask me if I want to add things to my site. So the blog was automatically selected because I chose that in the previous question. And I also have the option to add these other features, but for today, we're just going to hit next. And here is where I could either answer a few more questions and let Wix create the site, or I can go ahead and create my own by hitting that Edit a Template button on the right side. So I am going to go ahead and do that now. And since we already did decide that I wanted a blog website, they're giving me templates that have been made with that use already in mind. There are many different options. If I see one that I like, I can go ahead and just jump right in to edit it, or I can view it first. So I'm going to click on View, and this will show me what the template looks like. And this pop-up says we'll be able to change anything about the template that we want. So it did give us a little preview, but then it just wants you to jump right in and start editing. So what we're looking at now is called our workspace, and this is where we're going to do all of our editing. One thing to note is that the changes that you make to this template to personalize it do not save automatically. The website builder that we looked at last week, Weebly, did save automatically. However, this one you do have to click Save, which is up in that right-hand corner. We're going to go ahead and click Save now, and this is where it's going to ask us to select a domain name. It's already put some information in because of what I used to create my account, the information, which I used MCPL Tech Lady. So that's already part of the web address. And since this is going to be a home page, I am just going to type in home. And then I will save and continue. So now we have the site saved, and we can either preview the site, but it's not published until we do click publish. We could do that now, but we haven't done any editing yet, so we'll just do the option to preview. And this is where we can see our template without all of the grid layout options that are in the website builder. So we can see a bit better what the formatting is going to look like, and it already does have some filler text and filler posts so that we can see how they will be displayed when we do add our own eventually. So that gave us just a little preview of what the site is going to look like and what we're starting with. So now I can go back to the editor, and we're just going to take a quick tour of this page. When we're taking a look at this web builder, we're going to see that there is a top menu at the very, very top, and if you hover over each of the tabs, you will get a drop-down menu. So we can see that it works on each of the tabs, and it gives you more information. The Site tab is probably going to be the one that I look at the most because it does give us options for previewing. In addition to previewing, we can also get feedback, publish, and do all types of things to our site from this top menu. Now, we do have some of these options in other places along this workspace, but all of those options you can get to in one place right there, that drop down. So there is also a second row of menu options on the top, and they have more to do with the actual site itself rather than behind the scenes things. So the first one on the left here says page home. If I do click on that little drop down caret, we can see what sites are available. And if you do look, you may notice that each of the sites also have their own page. Listed in this bar menu in the middle of our screen, we can see each of those site pages corresponds with the ones that show up on this drop-down menu. And the next thing on this menu that we can use is switching between a desktop mode or a mobile mode. And this lets us do some layout editing for both formats of our site. So this website does help us have an adaptable website, so it can be viewed on both desktop and mobile devices. And as we can see, if we click on the mobile device view, all the same information is going to be there, but it is going to be set up in a different way. We can see that it has become a long, thin line of posts. And then if we do look, we have a search at the top of the page and a little 3-line hamburger icon right there. That's going to be where our menu is on the mobile site. So I clicked it, and now I can see that the menu corresponds with the one that we saw in desktop mode. So when I switch back, that menu is in the middle here. The next thing on our menu icons over the top are our undo and redo buttons. If you do accidentally do something to the site and you either don't like it or did it by accident, you do have the option to undo some of your changes. And you also have the option to zoom in or out. This is especially helpful when you're trying to look at what the layout of your site is going to be. That might be a reason why you want to zoom out, so you can see more of the big picture of the website. And then to get back to the regular editor view, we just go to this green exit mode button at the top right corner of our window, and that brings us back to our editor. So we also have some tools that we can turn on and off. So we already have those grid lines on. If I uncheck them, they do go away from our view. That just gives us more of a visual of some of the pieces of the layout that are already built into the site but are invisible to the viewer's eye. So snapping to objects is another option, and if you want to be very precise with something, you may decide that, for example, in order to keep the menu items in line together, you may want to keep that snap to objects on so that they really do stay in line next to each other. We also do have a search option on this menu. So if there's a tool we can't find, we can click on that search and type in what we're really trying to do. The next thing we're going to look at is the left menu, and we do have options over here. So this plus sign, the very first option, we can add another page to our site, or we can add different pieces of formatting. So on this site, to customize and really make things the way you want them, you may possibly want to highlight certain things on the option menu. And if you click on it again, it does hide the menu. So click once to open it, click twice to close it back up. The next option down that looks like a little piece of paper is for the site pages. So like that other menu, we can also access our site pages here. And Here is where we can change the order of the pages if we want, and we can see that when I do move one of the pages, it does also move it in the corresponding spot on our page. So rather than trying to drag and change the formatting of our menu, we can keep everything looking nice by using this area, this on the site pages. And then we can do some of that movement without affecting the overall look of the website. So there is also a site theme or a theme manager, and this is where we can look at the color families. So this page already has the theme built in. So by changing the theme family, we can change a lot of things by just making one click. So these could not only change the color of the page, the background, it could also change the color of the text, the font, also font style, size. It can do all of that just by changing the theme. I do have the option to also click the color theme and individually change the colors. So maybe this color, I wish it were a little bit darker. I can make it darker, and there's my preview. That's what it will look like. So anywhere that color has been used on our site, it's going to change to that darker color. So that is just something to note. We can also change the font size or the style of heading of our font. So the heading is going to be where it says train of thought. And if we change it to a different font, we can preview it on our little side menu and then click apply, and it does apply it to our web page. It looks like that may be the only heading in the theme on our web page, so that was the only change. I did kind of like it better the other way, so I'm going to use our undo button and just click it once and it goes back to our previous font. So that's just another way we can take a look at it. So you can try things and apply them to your site, and then if you don't like it, you can just click that undo and back right out of it. One of the things we can also change is the background color. It looks like there are transitions if you go to a different web page. So it says it does a crossfade to the different web page. That's something that we could probably see in the preview. So I'm going to go to preview mode. And yes, so now I'm going to click on this My Blog tab. And as you see, it kind of faded from that first page into the other. We can take a look at that. If that's something that you don't like, we can definitely change it to something different, or we could take it out altogether. So I'm going back to the editor, and I see that I am on my home page. I am actually on my blog page. So when you click on apps, you can actually add some of these things to your website. Some of them look like they're probably sponsored by the companies that make them, but they do allow you to use them. If you see premium site required, those are ones that you would not be able to use unless you are doing the paid for option for your website. But there are some free ones, so we can even search in our app store. So free didn't really give us what we wanted, but this first one here, it has a free plan available. This other one is free to install. So those are just some options if you're interested in adding things on to your website. The next icon down is where our media is going to be. So this is where we can add a video to our website. It looks like we can also connect social medias here if we wanted to. We can also do a little bit of photo editing for images that we want to display on our website. There are also some free images and videos that Wix is making available to us as we continue to scroll down. Shutterstock, it looks like Shutterstock is sponsoring some of the content, so you would have to pay for the images and videos that they are supplying. So the next thing we're going to do is click on our next little icon, the calligraphy pen, and that is, as it says, my blog. Because I chose this website to be a blog, this is where I can manage the information for that part of my website. So this first one is with the blog manager. We don't have anything on the blog, so it is blank. But if we wanted to have some different blog pages, if we wanted to get an idea of what the layout could look like before we do it, there are also options for blogging that are provided by Wix. So if you're looking for that kind of help, because when you create a blog, that's going to be the focus of your website. So Wix is giving you the opportunity to stylize the site and manage the blog as two separate things. So you can manage the blog without having to finagle with your formatting settings every time you post. So the settings are all there already, wrapped up in our template, so that we are customizing it, and then the blog has its own set of tools to manage the posts. Since there are probably going to be more posts with texts or photos, you can also add those, and you can save drafts of posts, so you can work on them and then save them as you continue to work and edit before you publish them. You can also put different categories on your posts. So all these kinds of things are what you can do to manage your blog if that is what type of website you're going to use. So on our dashboard, we can get to this blog management section without having to be in the website editor. So we'll look at that in a few minutes. So the last little icon on our left side menu is Ascend by Wix, which looks like they may be helping you with things such as SEO, which is search engine optimization, as well as marketing. I believe that some of these are included with your free account, but there would be others that are paid for options, premium options. Yes, see, it says upgrade Ascend. So you can, just like you can upgrade your web page, you can also upgrade these help features or marketing options if you're trying to use your website for a business or something of that sort. So there is one more little icon at the bottom left corner of this left side margin. It is called Layers, and this really has to do with the formatting of the web page. So this is where you can go. If I click on something, it'll take me directly to that spot on the page. So like if I click line here, there's a bunch of different lines. So if I click on it, it'll actually point out which line it's talking about. And that one is hard to see because I clicked on it and then it was underneath the pop-up. So it's this line. This is highlighted in orange on the web page, and actually it looks like when you have it selected, it kind of disappears, but it is also a line that separates the menu options. Everything between this menu and the bottom footer is the blog. So they do have filler posts in there, but obviously when we start creating our own posts, then you would delete these filler posts to make sure that they're still not showing on your site. I'm going to save the changes to our page. So to save any of the formatting changes, font changes, we want to click save like we said earlier, and just like we did it at the beginning. It does look like you can also maybe turn autosave on. However, I always just like to press the save button to be double sure. And then, so now we've kind of looked at all the different places on our site. So we are going to go ahead and publish this. We had a very similar pop-up when we saved, but this one says, congratulations, your site is published. So that means now anyone with this web address would be able to go to our site and actually see it. So I'm just going to highlight and copy the web address so we'll have it, but then I'm going to click right here, view my site. And this is to show us what our site looks like. And because of the way I moved the menu options, the home page is actually in the middle of that top menu that goes across the page underneath the heading. So that might be something I want to go back and fix later. And because we do have a free website, we do have this kind of advertisement bar up at the top saying that this site was designed with Wix Website Builder. So they are letting us create our site and manage it for free. And what they get in return is putting their marketing on our page. So it's across the top. It does have some information across the bottom as well, which is pretty typical if you use a theme template. It usually has credit for the designer of the template somewhere on the page. But this advertising isn't overwhelming by any means. It's not one of those pages that you open and a bunch of pop-ups pop up or anything like that. So that's just something to keep in mind. Our published site opens in a new window, so I can just click on the X up there in the Windows tab to X out of it, and that brings me back to my editor. And we do want to go ahead and show the dashboard now. So after the first time you sign into your account, when you log in, you're going to come to your dashboard. The dashboard is where you can find all the information you might need about your site. So like I mentioned before, you can go to manage your blog posts right from here, from the dashboard. It's right under home on that left side menu, and then you can kind of do your writing and publish the specific blog entries right from the dashboard without ever going into the editor. So that's just something to note on the home page of the dashboard. We also have our website here, so we did already start it and save it, and this is where it's going to show up. I do have some options of what I can do with the site. I can rename it. Right now it's called Home, but I can change that if I would like to. I can change it to like My Blog or something like that. And it does give you the option to change just the site name, but not the URL. So let's see how that worked. So now my site name is My Blog, but my web address has not changed. So there was that option on that pop-up, and you can change them both even after you publish your site, as long as it's not a web address that already exists for another web page. If we want someone else to be able to edit and manage it, we can also use this item here. Invite them to also have a role. They could be an administrator. There are different options, and based on those options, those people that you invite to your team would have different access permissions to the site. So that's just something to note also. I can also click Edit Site, and that just brings me back to the site editor. So we did publish our site, but we didn't make very many edits to the template. So right now on my site, it's full of those dummy posts that aren't really about me. So I do have the option to unpublish my site if that is something I decide I want to do. If I maybe don't think it's ready for public view yet, or decide I want to make a lot of changes and don't want people looking at it while I'm working on that. If I decide that I no longer need this site or no longer want it to be up for people to look at, I can unpublish it. So on our dashboard, we're going to go to the left side menu, kind of towards the bottom where I see it says settings. And if we can look at all of these headings, they just have different website settings and adding information to the site. So again, if you're going to use this as a business, there are some specific things that you may want to put in the website for that. Back under General is where we're going to click the very first option where it says Website Settings. And the very first thing we can see, we've got our green check mark that this site is published. And if we look all the way to the right, just straight across, we have a option to delete or unpublish the website. So when I click it, it does ask me if I really want to unpublish, and that's just letting you know that visitors won't be able to see until you publish it again. So I'm going to go ahead and click on unpublish. I had copied our web address earlier, so if I go ahead and put that in the web browser, I can see that we get this kind of error page. So if you unpublish your website, this is kind of what it's going to look like, just so you know, people will see an error message where the page should be, just like when it doesn't load correctly. So if you do see a web page like this, it could be something that the web address has changed or the person has unpublished that site. They could have taken it off the internet temporarily, or it could be a permanent deletion. So it's really up to the person running the site or the people who are running the site. That's it for today's video. If you liked it, make sure you let us know. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook on our MCPL 360 page. We have new videos every Wednesday and Friday at 1 p.m. And if you missed the live event, you can also find all of our videos on our YouTube channel. You can find all of our technology videos there on our consumer technology playlist. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.